Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soulful Sessions with Rory, the podcast where we dive deep into the matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. And I'm your host, Rory. And I am thrilled to embark on this soulful journey with each and every one of you. Soulful Sessions with Rory is your safe space for introspection, inspiration, and maybe even a little revelation. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee, winding down after a long day, or just seeking a moment of connection, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's soulful exploration, I want to remind you that Soulful Sessions with Rory is designed for entertainment purposes only. While we may touch on profound topics and meaningful discussions, it's important to approach our conversations with an open heart and a sense of curiosity. Life is a journey, and so is this podcast. We'll navigate the realms of self-discovery, spirituality, and personal growth, but remember, the insights we share here are not a substitute for professional advice or guidance. Always consult with the appropriate professionals regarding your unique circumstances. So whether you're a seasoned seeker or just dipping your toes into the waters of self-exploration, get ready for a blend of wisdom, laughter, and a touch of magic in each episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a soulful moment. Follow me on social media, on IG at Soulful Explorer, on Facebook, Listening Veteran Life Coach, and Snapchat, Rory Space Soulful Explorer with 2 L's to stay connected. Share your thoughts and be a part of this incredible community. Now let the journey begin. Sit back, relax, and let's feel our souls together. Today's soulful episode is Sensuality versus Sexuality, Erectile Dysfunction and Mental Health. Yes, I did. I said erectile dysfunction. Now, at some point, we may talk about the woman's libido, but today we're going to talk about the male libido. I feel like that this is a topic we don't discuss enough. Now, me, I'm a mature male, so I'm up there in age. But believe it or not, there are men who are actually in their 20s, 30s, and 40s who have problems with erections. And for those of you that don't know, that's when your penis gets hard. Or when your dick get hard, whatever. We're grown here. So most people, men especially, that's a sense of pride for them. It's the thing that says, I'm a man. So when you're in a relationship with someone, a woman who loves you, that cares for you, and she's waiting for you to show up with your manhood fully erect and ready to go, and nothing. It becomes a point of concern. In fact, in some situations, because that man does not know how to deal with not being able to perform, he can become bitter. He can start drinking. He could just be mean, and he'll create situations to avoid having sex. I hate to say it, some of them can become abusive, and we covered the whole narcissistic thing, but, it could be somebody who can't perform in the bedroom that has a problem. And it comes out and manifests in different ways. So instead of getting help, they just argue, they fight, and they're bitter. And, you as the person that loved that person, you just keep trying to love them. So much so that you even say, you know what, we're not going to have sex. It's okay. Well, hopefully help is here, because I don't want you spending the rest of your life being just okay, because I believe that sex can be an important part of a relationship, just like money. But the number one thing is communication. Communication will affect the money and the sex. So let's talk about some of the things that you can do that can help you with erectile dysfunction. Now, if you're trying to help your spouse, it's important that you approach this with kid gloves. Try not to talk about your spouse. Try not to question whether or not they're cheating on you. Try not to, get to the point where you're accusing them of something, because anxiety can definitely help you. And I'll tell a story in a little bit. But, erectile dysfunction has various causes, including physical, psychological, and lifestyle factors. Now, people who are experiencing erectile dysfunction should consult with a healthcare professional for personalized advice and treatment. But I'm going to try to give you some tips to help with that. Now, understand that these are just tips. It doesn't mean that this is the know-all be-all. This is 100% going to work. This is just some advice, and hopefully you can benefit from it as well as your spouse. So let's dive right in. Healthy lifestyle changes. What you eat. You ever heard that saying, you are what you eat? That is so true. So let's first talk about the penis. When a penis gets erect, what is really happening? Now, for all you people that are medical professionals, please, if I jumble this up, charge it to the game and send me a DM. Let me know what I need to do to fix it. But it's blood rushing into this skin. So your erection comes from the flow of your blood. So immediately, what do you think about? If you have high blood pressure, that can be an issue. That's why people with high blood pressure, from what I understand, shouldn't take Viagra or those medications that affect your blood flow. I don't know. Again, consult with your professional. So if you can't get your blood to flowing, that's a problem. If you're diabetic, if you're obese and you have issues that come along with being obese, like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, diabetes, all of these things can affect blood flow. And not only can it affect blood flow, it can affect your mood. Are you depressed? Do you have anxiety? Are you sad? Because guess what? Depression will stop you from wanting to do anything. Because let's be honest, to have sex, you have to first be mentally ready. It's not like when you were young, you think about, some breasts, some booty, and you was just ready to go. Now it's actually a chore. But let's say you are young and you do think about it, but still nothing happens. So, my first thing is go see a doctor, right? Go see a therapist. But if you don't do any of those things, then we're going to talk about some of the things you can do. I encourage you to exercise regularly. Why exercise? Blood flow, period. You'll notice that when you start exercising, your libido will start libidoing in most cases, unless you have a medical issue or a mental health issue. But if you have a mental health issue, exercise also helps with depression and anxiety, right? Have a balanced diet, maintaining your weight. So if you are overweight, if you're underweight, these things can affect your libido. And that's something that you have to pay attention to. So you got to eat foods that affect blood flow. I don't have a list of vitamins or minerals or vegetables or things you should eat, but you can Google it and it'll tell you what things you can eat and what vitamins you could take that will affect your blood flow, because that's the key, blood flow, right? And you want to make sure that it's open. Now, limit your alcohol consumption. When I was younger, there was this thing that I used to hear, first it was whiskey dick. Whiskey dick originally to me was when you've drank so much, your dick won't work because you've drank too much whiskey. But then I heard another thing called Henny dick. What the hell is Henny dick, right? Hennessy is a whiskey. Well, with Henny dick, apparently you drink and you could go all night, Now, I'm just going to be a little transparent. I've experienced both. And I honestly don't know the science behind neither one. So I'm not going to recommend it. But what I will say is that I do know that alcohol does affect your blood flow because it contracts your vessels and it removes the oxygen. Now, I don't know if you do that at the right time, maybe it'll act as a I don't know, something to keep the blood in one place. I'm not sure. Don't take my word for that one. I'm just letting you know. Now, avoid smoking. People say, why? Again, we're going back to blood flow. We're going back to oxygen levels. You have to be able to let your body do healthy things, and that affects your erection, right? Now, that is just on the physical surface, more or less, and that's just a way for you to kind of let me keep my brain going in this aspect. Now, if you have a partner who has erectile dysfunction and you're trying to get them to do these things, be subtle with it. Change the food you cook. When you want to go out to places, make sure you pick places that got healthy choices. You start working out, because I'm going to tell you, if you start working out, your partner will start working out. And be subtle with it. Don't be so judgmental. Don't be so critical. Encourage them. Tell them, I remember when you used to do this. I really liked when you did that. And remember, it's first psychological. You got to get them up and going. If they're having problems with the job, if they're having problems with children or parenting, co-parenting, that's another issue. And that's something you'll have to learn to deal with, right? So this goes to open communication. Create a supportive and understanding environment for discussing concerns about erectile dysfunction. In other words, you got to make it okay to have the conversation. Don't just sit there and go, why your dick ain't working? Don't do that. Don't sit there and judge them or out of anger talk about how they can't perform. It will never work then. Now, I get it. I get it. Some of you all are going, but Rory, this man had ED and then he went out and cheated on me. Remember I said it's psychological. So it's very possible that whoever he cheated with or whatever he did allowed him to relieve the stress, the anxiety, the depression. And so his blood flow was fine. Or he took something. I'm not saying that I got the answers. I'm just saying anything is possible. You create a safe space for your partner to talk about their problem. You create a safe space for them to say, hey, here's what's going on. And so when you open up the lines of communication, you can definitely change the narrative and you can be on the pathway to getting the physical pleasure that you desire oh so much through this moment. Now, this also falls along with stress management. You as the person with ED have to learn to control your stress. If you're going to work every day angry, if you're going home angry, if everything is about anger or sadness or frustration, there is no way you're going to be able to perform the way you'd like to. Because guess what happens when you're angry? Blood pressure rises. Yeah, your Johnson is not going Johnson. So that's something you got to think about. Do some push-ups, sit-ups, some jumping jacks, relieve that stress, or use sex to relieve the stress. Convince yourself that you want to touch, you want to feel, and all of these other things that can help you relieve stress. Now, you might want to try yoga. You might want to try some deep breathing exercises. And I always say seek therapy. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a therapist. I'm saying this because I've been on both sides of the table. So I understand what it's like. Get help. Thank me later. The other thing is you've got to pay attention to the medications that you're taking. I don't care what it is, the vitamin or actual prescribed medication. Look at the side effects. There are some mental health medications that literally will say may cause erectile dysfunction. And you're taking these meds and you don't know. Then you want to talk to your doctor about having ED so maybe they can work with you. But medications, you got to get them all reviewed and then look at how they work together. Ask your doctor or pharmacist, hey, if I take these medications, will it affect my erection? Will it affect my performance in the bedroom? Will it remove my mental desire for sex? All of these things are important, and it's important that you look at that, right? So you definitely want to do that. Of course, you got to seek professional help. I talked about that in the beginning, seeking professional help. If you feel like you have ED, go see a doctor, number one. After you see the doctor, make sure you get a referral to a urologist. Make sure there's somebody that's drawing your blood, checking your urine, and checking your Johnson to make sure that there's no medical issue. True story. I've been on this side of the table. I thought I had it. I thought I had a problem. I had to go get help. And guess what? There was nothing wrong with me medically. It was all mental. And we'll get into that as I discuss why it can be mental. Because you're trying everything in your power. But if you're unhappy, if you're depressed, it can affect everything. So it's important that you seek professional help right away. Go see a doctor. And if that doctor says that there's nothing wrong with you, then you start looking at you start looking at the mental aspects of it. You start looking at whether or not you're exercising. Just look at the things that you're doing. Now, the other thing that you can do is explore non-pharmaceutical treatment. Now, again, I'm not necessarily telling you this is what you should do. I'm just telling you what's out there. So there's a vacuum pump that you can use. Well, if you don't know, now you know. There's a vacuum pump that you can use. I'm not a spokesperson for them, so I don't have them on the site, but you can Google it. It's to help with erections, and it says it can make you larger as well, So get the vacuum pump, try that. penile implants or injections. And bless my now deceased dad. In his older age, for whatever reason, he always chose to share with me that he had a penile implant. I didn't want to know, but he talked about hitting that button and going to work. And I will tell you, when you listen to a 73-year-old man who just will not stop telling you a story you don't want to hear. Yeah, so apparently they work. They worked for him for a while. Again, rest in peace, Pops. And like I said, the vacuum pump, you can also talk to a healthcare provider in regards to exploring these options, because you don't want to just make this decision by yourself. Again, seek professional help. Find out what works for you. And then, the other thing is couples therapy. If you're finding yourself or you're finding that your partner cannot get an erection and keep an erection during intercourse, go get help. Get couples therapy. Go see a sex therapist as well. I mean, there are different types of therapy. Regular couples therapy can help, but so can a sex therapist. And at least find out if it's something that can be dealt with from a mental perspective. If it can't, that goes back to the medical. But once you get help, be open, be honest, be transparent. What you're going to realize is that you, as the person with ED, you're going to want to, I'm fine, everything. No, you're not fine. You're not fine because there's a part of you that isn't functioning the way that it's supposed to. That's like having a finger that won't bend. Don't walk around with that. Go get that fixed. And then tell the therapist how you really feel. How do you feel before sex? How do you feel after sex? How do you feel during sex? Is there anxiety racing inside of you thinking, oh my God, I got to make love to this person and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it up? Or you're thinking, oh my God, I had a hard day at work. I'm stressed. I don't want to do anything. They're going to ask me for sex and I don't know if I'm going to be able to perform. So you're literally creating anxiety. And so it's going to be hard for that blood flow to happen. You got to get out your own head. You got to get out your own head and enjoy this moment. You got to allow yourself to function normally, whatever that normal is, so don't be afraid to get couples therapy and tell the professional what's going on with you. I look at my wife, my husband, because I'm not knocking nobody. And I think about the time they cheated on me and it won't work, or I think about my spouse being angry with me or thinking I'm not enough or thinking I'm a failure and it won't work. I think about the argument we had 2 hours ago and it won't work. But you got to be honest. You got to say what's really going on here so that they can help you. Because if you pretend or you had all of these issues behind your male bravado, then your Johnson will not be Johnsoning and you will never get it resolved. You might want to say, well, in order for me to be aroused, I need these things to happen. Be open with your partner. If you need your partner, to jiggle your balls or something, then do it. If you need a thumb and then then do it. But you got to be honest with your partner and say what arouses you. Because again, it starts here. You might say, I need to watch porn before we do it. And of course, if you need to watch porn, then you got to figure out why you need to watch porn. That's for you, but you got to be honest and say what you need. I had a client once who, in lack of better words, had to think about another woman in order to get an erection for his wife. It happens, but when you get to the root of the problem, we had to eventually switch it from the other woman to his wife because the issue had a lot to do with stress, anxiety, and expectations. So you have to focus on things in a transparent fashion so you can deal with them open and honestly. But men, if you don't take the time to learn you're going to keep having these problems. And if you're a young man, get help. Ladies, don't laugh at them if it don't work. Encourage them. Say, hey, it's okay. Let's go get some help. Are you stressed? Let's relax. Calm down. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're in the anxious moment and you just want it, that's going to affect your blood flow. So calm down a little bit and then maybe go back and try again. Experiment with sensate focus. Now, let me explain what that means. Experimenting with sensate focus is it's a non-sexual touching, and it can kind of help you and your partner reconnect, because sometimes we lose that chemistry. So you might want to start practicing just holding hands, hugging, building intimacy without the pressure of sexual performance. So you don't want to expect for your partner to have sex with you when they're trying to do this. You want to get them used to touching you again. You want to get them used to you all rubbing and kissing and things like that without the expectation of sex. Because a lot of times the anxiety buildup is what prevents it. It's like, oh, this has to happen. So practice that. So sensate focus will help you with that. The other thing is explore alternative therapies. And I was talking about that earlier when we talked about seeing a sex therapist. A lot of them, you can consider acupuncture. You can consider herbal supplements, pelvic floor exercises, and again, consult with a professional. All of these things that I'm talking to you about, can help, but it doesn't work for everybody. So it's important that you figure out what works for you. Whether you're on the side of the person, whether you're the person that has erectile dysfunction, or you're the spouse that's seeking the pleasure, the number one thing is you got to have patience and understanding. It is hurtful to not be able to perform in the one thing that you were told you were supposed to do all your life. I don't want to compare it to a woman who can't have children, but the mindset is similar. I'm not going to say it's the same, it's similar. And so this person is thinking they're not good enough. This person is thinking that they're not enough. And that problem that they're having is weighing heavy on their soul. Now, I get it. You're tired of it not working. But you have to take steps to fix it. It's not on your partner to tell you, hey, you got ED, go get help. It's up to you to saying, I'm not performing the way that I need to perform. So let me go get help. Let me go see somebody. So if the doctor tells you, hey, you need to change your diet for your spouse, if not for you. If the doctor says you need to exercise. If you need to see a therapist, go see a therapist. Stop making excuses. Oh, I'm just stressed. Of course you're stressed. Go see somebody. Oh, I'm just tired. Yes, you're tired. Go see somebody. Take some vitamins. There is no excuse. So be aware of your body. Take care of you. And if your spouse is complaining, that's a problem. And you need to fix it. It's up to you. And you're lucky if you have a spouse that supports you in that aspect. So do what you got to do. Now, every individual is different. And what worked for one person may not work for another person. I want to encourage you to experiment. I want to encourage you to have open communication. But what you got to do is find the most effective strategy that works for you and your possible erectile dysfunction. The other thing is, I want you to think about the difference between sexuality and sensuality. Sexuality can be more physical, touch, it's out in the open, just out there. Sensuality starts in the mind. You create an atmosphere of intimacy. What used to excite you may not excite you anymore. Figure out what it is. Experiment, take chances. So that way you don't feel like you just can't do anything. Now, if you need help, if you're in Texas, you can go to www.mentalhealthdefenseandfitness.com to set up an appointment to see a therapist. Oh, that would be me, by the way. I do take insurance because I feel like this is a topic that we definitely need to discuss more. And now to tell you my story, because I don't want to leave that out. There was a time when I thought I had erectile dysfunction. And it was difficult for me because as a man, it's like, wait a minute. Long story short, as I said earlier, when I saw the doctor, he said it was all mental. I couldn't believe it. I was in a stressful relationship. I was in a stressful job. Everything that I was doing was stressful. And so when I started getting therapy, mental health, it all changed. Let's just say my Johnson is Johnsoning, so I don't have any problems. Now, I want to say thank you. And not just thank you for listening to today's episode, but for everything. I want to say thank you in advance for your partner, because they need you right now in this hard time. No pun intended. Thank you, beautiful souls, for joining today's episode. Look, I just messed that all up because I'm laughing. All right. Thank you, beautiful souls, for joining me today on another enlightening episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might benefit as we navigate the depths of introspection and explore the boundless possibilities of the human spirit. Remember that your journey is uniquely yours, and every twist and turn is a sacred part of your story. Embrace the whispers of your soul, and may the echoes of our conversation linger in your heart, sparking a flame of self-discovery. Until we meet again in the realm of shared wisdom, stay true to your essence, stay connected to the rhythm of your soul, and always remember that you are a masterpiece in the making. Wishing you love, light, and infinite possibilities on your soulful journey. Until next time, this is Rory signing off with gratitude and reverence for the magic that resides in each and every one of you.